G'day ladies and gentlemen. Today we are looking at some more Skaven related lore, but what is even more exciting is that the lore we're looking at is basically drugs. Considering I'm heading to a music festival next weekend, the topic of drugs is really relatable for me right now. Specifically, we are talking about Warpstone, what it is, what it does, and why it seems like the only thing Skavens like. I'm making this video because I know you cunts are a bunch of rat-loving fucks, so here you go. But just before we get started, the Vampire Coast DLC for Total War Warhammer 2 is out next week, very exciting. No, I don't have early access, CA refused to give it to me. Not sure why, but oh well. That's a lie, I do know why. The good news is that if you use my link in the description and comments, you can get the DLC for 20% off, which is not bad in my opinion. That's where I bought my copy off. I'll do a tournament, a free-for-all tournament when it launches, and it'll be great, and definitely not endorsed by anyone. Let's get into it. In simple terms, Warpstone is condensed and solidified magic in its purest form. Although some of it is created through years of strong magic flow in a specific area, the largest scale deposits of the shit is from meteors that have struck the old world for thousands of years. These meteors come from the big fuck-off chaos moon called Morsleb. This is why the Skaven nuked the moon like a bunch of fucking high-budget terrorists during the end times. They wanted to get all the Warpstone on it. This was obviously a fucking shit idea, as the falling moon chunks nearly blew up the entire world. But as I said, that's the end times, and we don't talk about the end times. Now, onto the actual description of the good shit. Warpstone basically looks like a glowing green emerald with a smidgen of evil thrown into it, especially once it has been cut and treated and refined. A lot of unrefined Warpstone is actually super dangerous to be near, as it's literally a chunk of magical uranium at this point. However, upon being refined, you can eat this shit and not even die. Straight away, you will die eventually, but not instantly. But I reckon it's worth it, because like, you have the biggest high of your life. Like apparently you're high for like a month. Like wow, it's insane. Speaking of taking Warpstone as a drug, it can also come in a powdered form to make it very convenient for doing lines. Fuck yeah. Now, we know it's an evil green magic rock from space, but let's look into now what it actually does. Warpstone is by far the most versatile material in Warhammer Fantasy. To put it in simple terms, Warpstone is like cocaine mixed with uranium, with the additional bonus of also being magical. However, the general mixture of a nuclear energy source and extremely dangerous and addictive drug sounds magical enough as it is. Wizards and witches from all races often experiment with Warpstone, however due to its inherently evil nature, it is shunned by the governments of most of those races. This is also due to its insane volatility, and it often randomly explodes, killing everything around it and giving everyone else who didn't die cancer. If the Warpstone is extremely refined, it can be forged into extremely powerful weapons and armor, due to the magic being in it being controlled and focused. The legendary Skaven Fellblade was forged using the best Warpstone available, and was so powerful it was able to actually kill Nagash. It's quite common for notable Skaven to place Warpstone in their armor, in order to protect themselves from enemy spells as well. I can't really find much mention of a cunt having just Warpstone as armor, but if they did, then I reckon they would, should be more worried about the amount of cancer that'd be radiating onto them, rather than the massive Dawi firing line that would be shooting at them. Onto the juicy stuff. Warpstone is often used as a drug by certain weird cunts in order to temporarily give them a massive high, in addition to increased power. As a drawback, however, they suffer terrible mutations and go batshit crazy. Worth it. The way it is absorbed varies from race to race, or who eats it and what it does to them. For example, Nagash absorbed a shit ton of it to increase his power, however due to his intentions, techniques, race and power, he was able to avoid the terrible side effects of Warpstone consumption, and instead use it purely as a power source. Skaven on the other hand absorb it for fun, but in really twisted ways, such as using it to create like rat ogres, or as a dildo. Probably, I would not be surprised if that was real. Here's your fun fact for the day though. Elves, dwarves and lizardmen are pretty much all immune to this shit, as they were created to be resistant to chaos by big old daddy old ones. Halflings are also immune, for some reason, although I would love to see a mutated Frodo looking motherfucker running around on this shit. That'd be good. I'd watch that as Lord of the Rings 4. As humans are very susceptible to all chaotic influences, most human nations have straight out outlawed Warpstone, as it can really fuck shit up. Like, imagine if uranium was evil, I'm pretty sure we would not be using it. Like, I'm pretty sure we'd be onto alternative energy sources. Now, onto its more technical uses, other than just, mutating cunts and making shit magical. It has been described as a never-ending power source. As a result, Skaven machines, such as portals, ranged weapons, artillery, and just fucking everything is powered by the stuff. It is theorized that the explanation for the Skaven's ridiculous levels of insanity is due to their constant exposure to the shit. The nuclear bomb that was used to blow up the moon in the end times was made using warpstone, so it just shows how fucking, naughty it can be. Very cheeky. Now, we've talked about what the shit is, what it does, so let's get into the Skaven's relationship with it, including what common machines and monsters are created using it. Warpstone is more than just the material for Skaven, it's a way of life. I mean, their fucking currency is made out of warpstone. They literally have tokens made out of radioactive stones. Like, that's probably why they look so fucked all the time. They probably just have so many fucking melanomas all over them. It's the foundation of their society and the only reason why they pose a threat to anyone. I've completely lost my voice. It's going to be a challenge to get through this last paragraph. Fuck me. Let's do this. It's literally their only commodity. Like, they don't even consider trading warpstone for anything else because they don't need anything else. While also all of the Skaven have basic uses for warpstone in their weaponry and energy sources, each major clan has a different main use for it. For example, Clan Moulder uses it primarily to fuse with organic flash to create horrific monsters such as the Rat Ogres or the Hell Pit abominations. Clan Sky, on the other hand, uses it to power their technology, such as cannons, rockets, and even things such as portals. Clan Pestilence uses the warpstone to empower their magical plagues, while Clan Ashin use it to empower their weapons and stealth in order to assassinate targets more effectively. However, in all these clans, the price for using the warpstone is very high, as mutated monsters rampage from the agony, machines explode, and magical plagues are released onto the wrong populations. However, the Skaven don't really give a fuck, as there is a metric cuntload of Skaven out there, so no one really notices the millions that die in these experiments. All in all, it's hard to say which faction of the Skaven benefits most from warpstone, as a gigantic fucked up looking mole rat is just as terrifying as a cannon that shoots cancer lightning at you. The moral of this video is, if it glows green, don't touch it. Unless you want to snort that motherfucker, then ooh, go ahead. Or, you can feed it to your cat and see how many dicks you can make it grow. And that covers warpstone today, guys. Bit of a shorter video, however, it'd be pretty fucking gay if I try to draw this out to 10 minutes. I mean, unless you're Arch, then fuck, why stop at 10? Why not go to 23 minutes? Ooh, fuck. Join my Discord, cunts. Like, comment, and subscribe for more bullshit, and send nudes. Yes. Peace.